Hello, everybody, and welcome to From the Mezzanine. I'm your host, Lindsay Stone, and let's get into this week's episode. How is everybody doing? Welcome to yet another episode of From the Mezzanine. We are rounding out the year. In my very next episode, we are going to do the Broadway roundup of all of the shows I saw in 2023, and I haven't even looked at how many playbills I have acquired this year. It's going to be an exorbitant number, and I need to mentally prepare myself for going through all of that and actually ranking these shows. I'm scared, but I will save all of the reflecting and everything for next episode, even though I already want to reflect so badly about everything because so much has changed this year, much for the better. And anyways, moving to New York, seeing so many shows, really kind of kickstarting this podcast in a much bigger way, which has been the greatest blessing of the year. And I'm just really happy with everything right now. But like I said, we will recap all of that next week. But I also want to give a shout out to the fact that we now have a YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hi, hello. I'm sorry we missed a week because I started it 2 episodes ago. And then last episode, I was recording on my camera so I could get really high quality footage for you guys, and my camera completely stopped recording at the 12-minute mark. And last week's episode was like 50 minutes or 45 minutes. And so I just scrapped the whole thing and said, okay, we'll do another honest college try next week. So hopefully this is on YouTube. Hopefully. But go check us out on YouTube if you enjoy a visual podcast as well as an audio podcast. I would love for you to listen to both. But that was a huge, big new step, venturing out into the YouTube platform of podcasting, because it used to not really be a thing for podcasts to be on YouTube, and now it's completely normal in the way of the world. And so you got to keep moving forward, moving with the way that everything's going. And so now we are on YouTube, honey, and I hope that if you've been like a longtime listener and you've been looking forward to it on YouTube, I hope that it fits what you're looking for. And if not, guys, I'm not a YouTube girly myself. I've never been huge into watching people on YouTube. So I am not the wise one in that platform. And I am very open to feedback from y'all of how to improve on YouTube, what I'm not doing, what I should be doing. Please let me know. But if you're not listening on YouTube, hi from wherever you are listening. Thank you so much for listening to From the Mezzanine. And I don't have much to recap. I haven't really seen anything. I did see Mind Mangler, but we will talk about that later. I really enjoyed it. I love everything that Mischief does. They're so talented, and their brand of humor always ensures that you're going to have a fun, jovial, humorous time off-Broadway, typically, or on Broadway. Seeing Peter Pan Goes Wrong was one of the highlights of 2023 for sure. Oh my gosh, I've got to factor that into the ranking. Gosh, this is going to be the hardest year yet, by a landslide. It's going to be so difficult to rank all of these shows. But yes, Mind Mangler was so fun. It's a 2-man show. And if you're not familiar with what Mischief does, they do all of the plays that go wrong. That's kind of their thing. And they did Peter Pan Goes Wrong, which was so funny. And right now it's been running on Broadway for years, is the play that goes wrong. And it's a lot of slapstick comedy. It was really different from the other things that they've done because it was just a 2-person show. And so really the main illusionist, the Mind Mangler, is the star of the show. And then he has his helper, who's one of the greatest actors on Broadway. He is so genius and he's so kind. And I actually ran into him on the street and I talked to him, told him about the podcast, and that's how I was invited to go and see the show. It was so amazing and I felt really honored to be invited to go and see this show. And I will support everything that Mischief, which I believe that's just their troupe name. But it covers Mischief does all of their shows. It's kind of like the umbrella troupe for all of the Goes Wrong productions. But I'll support anything that Mischief does because they're great. And they are just turning out shows left and right. I can't wait to see what they do next. But Mind Mangler is definitely something, it's pretty family friendly. There were quite a lot of kids there, and they were just cracking up at so much that was going on. It was really enjoyable and really funny, and like, it's just a lighthearted night out on Broadway. It's just a great time. But other than that, like, I should give y'all an update, because last week I was telling y'all how my dog was sick. He's well improved. No worries there. I'm sorry if I worried some of y'all, but I was like down in the freaking dumps last week with all of that. I had all these plans. Me and my friend were going to go and see Wonka that day. And so I was excited to talk to you guys about Wonka and recap all of that, since it's like a semi-musical or whatever they're saying. And so anyways, I didn't end up getting to go see Wonka, which was unfortunate. Otherwise, I would be bringing that recap to y'all now. But what I do want to say, I am so excited for the upcoming Mean Girls musical movie, which, one, I'm not super thrilled that they're not being forthcoming with the fact that it is a musical. They literally just call it Mean Girls, and there's like a music note in the A of Mean Girls to like give a little wink that, hey, it's gonna be musical. But otherwise, I'm so lit for this. They're doing their like PR run, their press junkets right now, going on all of like talk shows and like interviews, and all kinds of videos are coming out with the cast. And so I'm so like just getting more and more excited, and I feel confident that it's going to be good, which I wasn't confident that it was going to be good earlier on, but now I am. Now I really am. And so that's going to come out on, it's like official premiere date is January 12th, I believe. But in New York, there's all kinds of dates that it's like premiering. There's a date you can go see it on like January 5th, January 8th, and then I think it's everywhere in theaters on January 12th. And so that is my most anticipated movie musical right now. I'm really excited about The Color Purple too. I really want to go and see that. Wonka, I wasn't too thrilled about going and seeing. I just don't think I'll like it. I don't know why. It's like the style of it, because I enjoy Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I enjoy all of that. Like, it's very creative and colorful and fun and fantastical, but this one is a little too far for me. It's just a little too whimsical, weird from what I can see, and maybe I'll bite my tongue when I go and see it myself. And I just don't see Timothée Chalamet in this role. I really and truly don't. I know it's a prequel to Wonka or Willy Wonka, but like, how can you go from such an old-timey feel to like coming out with this whimsical prequel in 2023? I just don't see the connect there, and I'm not super lit about Timmy boy in this role, because I just don't see it. But anyways, I will see it eventually, probably once it's streaming. Honestly, that's probably when I'll see it, and then we'll talk about it more. But I was kind of sad that I wasn't able to go and see it last week, because I was excited to break it down with you guys, because I'm certain that a lot of y'all have already seen the movie. So anyways, with that, since I don't have anything else to recap, which is probably going to be the case for like this week and next week and maybe the next week, since I've kind of like, it's the holiday season, so I'm bombarded with a million other things going on. With that, let's head on into our Broadway grosses. A little early for the podcast, I know, but we just don't have anything else to catch up on. I wish we did. Hopefully, maybe we will. This is going to reflect the week ending on December 17th. So let's get right into it. I'm excited because this is going to account for How to Dance in Ohio's opening week. They have already opened by the time we're seeing all of these grosses. So let's see if they moved up. I'm just going to say a prayer, please. I hope they moved up. Okay. The Lion King is number 1 with 2.5 million. Wicked is number 2 with 2.3. Oh my gosh, just a hair behind Lion King. Come on, Wicked. Come on. You can do it. Just a little further. You got it. You got it. Just $200,000 more. Can you do that? I think you can. I believe in you. And then third is Hamilton, beating out Merrily We Roll Along, and then Sweeney is at 5. So this is interesting because just last week, Hamilton had bumped all the way down behind Merrily and Sweeney, and now it's bumped back up. I always wonder, why? Why does this happen? It's so holiday season right now. Like y'all, the city is overrun with people right now. I was going out to do just typical things. I was kind of going to like well-known areas and well-known locations, but there were lines out the doors like everywhere, and I gave up and I came back home because I thought for some reason, I was like, hey, everybody's out of the city because I live over here in Brooklyn. And so the streets are like honestly clear over here. But then you go over to Manhattan, you're like, oh, this is where everybody is because all the tourists are in town. Everybody's families, I guess, are visiting. No, I think it's tourists. I think it's mainly tourists are here for like Christmas. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. I never was like going on a vacation at Christmas time, like over actual like the Christmas holiday. So I'm surprised there's so many tourists here. Like waking up in a hotel, maybe it's fun. Maybe it's nice if you're older, I guess. I don't know. It's a different vibe for sure. But anyways, so all of that to say that these grosses definitely reflect an influx in all of the tourism that's hitting the city right now. And so I'm not surprised this week, since we're just inching closer and closer to Christmas, I'm not surprised that Hamilton has beat out Merrily and Sweeney, considering Hamilton at this point is your typical tourist show. Not to say it's not good. Of course, these tourist shows are amazing, but I am glad to see Merrily and Sweeney are still in the top 5. MJ is 6, Aladdin is 7, Moulin Rouge is 8, Harry Potter is 9, and Back to the Future is 10. And then we're going to go just a little bit further down. The Book of Mormon is right behind Back to the Future, and then Angeliette is below that, and then 6. Okay, cool. So we didn't see How to Dance in Ohio, so let's scroll to where they are. Not good news, guys. Not good news. This makes me so sad. Yeah, they're at the very bottom. This show like has my heart. It really, really does. It has my heart. I don't think it's the greatest show on Broadway. Don't get me wrong. I just want it to succeed so badly. I think what it stands for makes it the greatest show on Broadway. I just wish more people would get in the door to go and see it because it's not looking good. It is really, really not looking good. But should we just look at what else is at the bottom so we can kind of prepare ourselves for any closings that might be announced over the Christmas break? Because while people are busy with their families, somebody just might slide in and say, hey, we're closing, and try to like fall under the radar and just close without too many eyes on them since everybody's hanging with their fams and whatever. So anyways, How to Dance in Ohio is the lowest grossing musical right now. And then above that is Kimberly, which y'all know we got news the other day, or not the other day, this was probably like a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months, that Kimberly Akimbo is going on a national tour. I don't know who's going to go see this on a national tour when their capacity is 77% on Broadway. I know I need to see the show. And I should, but I haven't because it doesn't seem like my kind of show. But I don't know who is going to go see this show on a national tour. And I would be really surprised if they actually do embark on a national tour. So then just above Kimberly is Harmony. So these are 3 original musicals that are doing very poorly. This isn't proving well for the original new musical. Hadestown is above them, which once again goes to show that Jordan Fisher is not giving them that boost that maybe they thought that he would. And then we have Chicago above that, and then we have Shucked above that, and then we have Spamalot, and then we're getting into the mid-range shows, such as Some Like It Hot, which is just about to close. They're closing at the end of this month. I believe it's December 30th, to be exact, when they are closing. And so if you're into Some Like It Hot, go see it before it closes. I am not into this show. I'm glad that I saw it. It is like a standard fine Broadway show, but it doesn't check any of the boxes for me. It doesn't scratch any itches for me. It's like literally mediocre at best. Whoops, sorry, Some Like It Hot. I was feeling I was a little strong. And then over Some Like It Hot, we have A Beautiful Noise and then Gutenberg. And then we're back up to the top where 6 and Angeliette and Book of Mormon are. So, the same shows are really staying at the top. How to Dance in Ohio needs to kick it in a high gear or else it's not looking good for them for the long run, which is very scary. Very scary. I hate to see a brand spanking new musical on Broadway be at the very bottom. People should be knocking down that door to get in there to go and see it, and it's not happening. And that's very sad. They need to get really creative. I don't know if they need to get creative with their marketing. Marketing can always go a long way. Or maybe their casting. Could they get creative with their casting? I think so. Yeah, I think that's a huge opportunity that maybe they need to take advantage of, which can be a little dicey sometimes because you're forfeiting a Broadway caliber and talented performer, which everybody in the show is very talented, for a holiday? Wow. Wow. Christmas time is really messing me up. For a Hollywood big name that can come in and actually fill the seats. But I think that might be a tactic that they need to try. Maybe somebody in Dr. Amigo's role could be good, since Dr. Amigo is having some less than positive reviews. So I could see that, or the moms, except I would say that the moms aren't like a huge enough role. But I think a stunt casting could be a good direction for them to go in. What else would I recommend for How to Dance? I know there's a lot of controversy right now with the way they're doing their lottery system. It sounds like maybe it's unfair in some ways. I haven't done a deep dive into that, but for like all of December, they were offering $50 tickets, but apparently it was like a tiered rush system. I think maybe there's a lot of fine print at the bottom of that $50 ticket that it makes it difficult to get it. But yeah. They need to do something, and they need to do something big and quick, or else they're just spending money and it's money down the drain because it'll just close. And it's December. Tonys are all the way in June. So for them to be able to stick it out until the Tonys, they need 6 more months. 6 more months to stay alive on Broadway in order to make it to Tony season. Hopefully they'll win a bunch and then keep going. But I think that 6 months sounds almost impossible with how much money they're bringing in week to week right now. So that's not super positive. You know who I saw at the opening night that I think could go in for Dr. Amigo's role? Let me just recast How to Dance in Ohio real quick. I gotta look him up real quick though, because I don't remember his name. John Leguizamo. I hope I said his name right, but he was at the How to Dance in Ohio opening. He could be a good Dr. Amigo. And I don't want to replace any of the main cast because obviously they're tremendous and they're the heart of this show. So I think if we're replacing anybody, it needs to be the daughter, Dr. Amigo, or the moms. Even though everybody's good, everybody's great in my opinion, I think this is a tactic that How to Dance in Ohio probably needs to play in order to bring in people and fill those seats. Maybe Paula Abdul is one of the moms. I could see that. She'd be great. She would bring in people for sure. She's a huge name and she's a producer. So come on, Paula. Come on stage, girl. Why don't you? Get on up here and save your show. Save it. I believe in you, Paula. Okay, let's head on into our Broadway news, everybody. So to kick it off, this is kind of some speculation, some hush-hush rumors, which I kind of want to talk about too. One that's on here and one that's not. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the fact that apparently, shout out Broadway Ben on TikTok, because I haven't seen any of this, but apparently The Great Gatsby is probably seconds away from announcing that they are coming to Broadway. Now, this is The Great Gatsby that was just starring Jeremy Jordan and Eva Noblezada, that was playing at the Paper Mill Playhouse, that had some mixed reviews. It was good in some ways and not so good in others. The first act was strong, and then that second act, it totally was trying to tie up too many loose ends and they really struggled. But the talent of the show was incredible. But apparently there's a posting on Playbill Jobs. I went and tried to find it. I couldn't find it. Maybe it's been taken down. Maybe I don't have good searching skills. But apparently they've posted a listing for actors, or maybe it was for the orchestra or something, for The Great Gatsby that was going to be on Broadway. And then also apparently people are getting ads that say The Great Gatsby comes to Broadway or whatever. People are already seeing ads. I haven't seen ads. I haven't seen this posting. So this is really all rumors right now. But if this does in fact come to Broadway, which I think we all kind of figured it would be, despite the fact that it wasn't perfect yet, I hope that they really take some time to change it and fine tune it, because it needs some work before it comes. Because for them to try to aim so closely to achieve what the movie achieved, even some of the lines were word for word from the movie, they're not creating that same feeling that the movie made. The music in the movie honestly was far better than the music in the musical. Not all of it. some of the musical songs were really, really good, mainly when either Eva Noblezada was singing or Jeremy Jordan was singing. Their songs were incredible. And then the second half just fell off. They were really, really spending a lot of time on other characters, not Gatsby and Daisy. Also, I do want to point out, shout out Broadway Ben again, what he posted was that they're not recasting this show. It said on there that the cast is already set. So I can assume that the job listing he found was maybe for like a technical role or like stage manager or orchestra or something like that. So anyways, people are seeing these things. I don't believe they're fabricated, but an official statement has not been put out. So right now, this is all just speculation. And I'm happy for it to come to Broadway. Obviously, I want Jeremy on Broadway because I miss his beautiful face and I want to listen to him sing whenever I have the money to go and do it. And then also same for Eva. I hope that they keep them in the main roles. If they don't, that would really be crappy. So anyways, very exciting news that maybe we'll be able to report on here soon officially. Just want to make y'all aware that there's some speculation and some things out there that people are seeing that are all pointing to one thing, and that Gatsby is coming to Broadway, which is also very fun to note because I'm obsessed with the pinning up of the two Gatsbys right now. There's The Great Gatsby with Jeremy Jordan, and then there's Gatsby that's done by Florence Welch, who did some of the music for the Great Gatsby movie. So anyways, and then Gatsby, the Florence Welch version, that one is directed by Rachel Chavkin. But we don't have a cast. It's coming to the Art in 2024. And we can't have two Gatsbys on Broadway, guys. But if we did, wouldn't it be kind of fun? See what comes out on top? Like, kind of like it. I like the drama. Shocking. But if one does come to Broadway first, then they definitely have a leg up on the other. Just saying. But the other piece of speculation / rumor news is that Sunset Boulevard, starring Nicole Scherzinger, is eyeing a Broadway arrival. So things have been said, and people are... there are literally articles out there saying that apparently Nicole Scherzinger has committed to coming to Broadway in this role for a 6-month run. Now, I have to ask the question, do we really need another Sunset Boulevard on Broadway right now? We just had one back in 2017 when Glenn Close came back. She was in the original Sunset Boulevard. That was one of the biggest flops in the whole world. And that was back in 1995 when it debuted. And also with Glenn Close. And then Glenn Close came back in 2017. And then now Nicole Scherzinger did Sunset Boulevard on the West End. And now it is speculated to be coming to Broadway. But do we need it? I don't know. I don't really think so. I don't believe in a revival every few years. And yeah, okay, 2017 feels like it was like 2 years ago. But I guess it was actually like 7. So that's kind of like blows my mind. 2017, 2018, 2019. Guys, I have no sense of like years in time ever since COVID. But I think it's too soon. Honestly, I think it's too soon. I don't think we need this again. Is Nicole Scherzinger a big enough name to fill those seats for an old revival musical? I don't know. If you're unfamiliar with who Nicole Scherzinger is, she was the lead of the Pussycat Dolls, who sang the song of my childhood. When I grow up, I want to be famous, I want to be a star, I want to be in movies when I grow up. But now she's really tapping into her creative, artistic Broadway side, and she was in Annie Live. We got Annie, and she was magnificent in that. And so I would love to see her come to Broadway. I could really see her as a stunt casting for 6 or in How to Dance in Ohio as one of the moms. I could see that. But I just don't know if we need Sunset Boulevard on Broadway again. But you know what? What do I know? And it's a recognizable show. It's Andrew Lloyd Webber. Everybody knows about it, but a lot of people don't know that it was a flop. But yeah, I bet it's going to come. I really do, especially since Nicole has already said, like, I'll commit to a 6-month run. Plus, like, I feel like Broadway's loving their limited engagements right now. It all started with Parade. Not really all started, but That's the one that I started caring about it. But that was a limited run, and then Marily's a limited run, Gutenberg's a limited run. So that's the way that they're able to get these big Hollywood names on Broadway, is by saying, oh yeah, limited run, 6 months, let's bring in all that cash and then pocket it and we're good. So anyways, I think Sunset Boulevard did pretty well in the West End, this version of it. I was seeing photos. It looked really, really good. I would see people go and seeing it. We're all really like impressed by it, and they all were excited for it to come to Broadway. So I'm sure it's a great show. I'm not saying that I think it might be bad by any means. I'm sure it's really good, but I just feel like 2017 wasn't long ago enough for us to need this again. When was the last cabaret on Broadway? Let's look at that. Because I feel like cabaret comes like just every few weeks, literally. So cabaret was originally on Broadway in 1987, and then again in 1998, and then again in 2014, and then now it's going to come back in 2024. So, I mean, that is so much. Is that too much? I kind of feel like that's too much. But also, like, the last time it was in 2014. So it's almost been 10 years. 10 years is like a solid amount of time. I feel like that makes sense. It's long enough for people to have, like, kind of forgotten about it and, like, be excited to go and see it again. But I would say Sunset Boulevard, it's too soon. Also, let's talk about the transition from Glenn Close to Nicole Scherzinger. This is a drastic difference of person. So maybe that's a really good thing. You have this pop icon on one end and this Hollywood genius on the other. Plus the fact that she originated the role in the beginning makes it really cool to go and get to see her in the role she originated again. Like, could you imagine if Rent came back and they brought back the original cast? Everybody would be there to see that. So anyways, but all of that to say that Glenn Close and Nicole Scherzinger are bringing in very different demographics, I would assume. And so maybe it is a good thing. Like, I would probably go see Nicole before I would see Glenn Close, even though she's like classic, OG. I kind of would be more interested to see what Nicole Scherzinger, this beauty icon, did with it, does with the role. So I can see it. I can definitely see it. Let's see. Am I omitting any of the facts since I've just been like talking to myself for this entire time? No, I think I covered all of my points, but I do want to say that they even are already like speculating when this is going to arrive on Broadway, and they're saying November 2024. So that's in a long time, almost a whole entire year. So we'll see. I bet it's going to come. I really do. In my heart of hearts, I think that they're already starting this rumor mill in an effort to drum up attention. And so by the time they actually announce it, people will already be expecting it and excited for it. All right, cool. So we can pretty much say Sunset Boulevard is likely to come to Broadway November 2024. So let's just keep that in mind. All right, our next piece of news for this week is that we have our next Seymour and Audrey for Little Shop of Horrors. So as we all know, Corbin Bleu and Constance Wu are in the roles right now, and they're going to be in the roles until January 28th. However, we didn't know who would be replacing them until Darren Criss showed up on SiriusXM's On Broadway, and he was talking about his show, A Very Darren Christmas, and he said this, quote, "Folks, Evan, Rachel Wood, and I, if you haven't heard, will be going into Little Shop of Horrors on the West Side Theater Off-Broadway, and I'm going to be doing that from, I think, late January through the end of March. It'll be short and sweet, but I'm so excited to be announcing that if you didn't know already," stated Criss during the show. Okay, cool. So he announced not only his own arrival, but also Evan, Rachel Wood. And I don't know if I live under a rock, but I had no idea who this woman was. And so I did a little bit of research. And the only thing that I know her from is she was the mom in Frozen 2. And she sang the song, "Where the mountain meets the sea, there's a river full of memories. Sleep, my darlings, homeward bound, and all is found." I really know those words. Okay, but that's the only way that I know her. She's been in a number of things. She's been on, I think she's been on the West End, I read, but I don't believe she's been on Broadway. But I know this is her off-Broadway debut. But I am always excited to see who is next in the Little Shop of Horrors revolving door, because they are just getting such good people. I don't know what. Maybe they just have so much money that they're paying so much, or all these people are like, yeah, I want to throw my hat in the ring and play Seymour. And obviously Darren Criss is a very obvious Seymour. He makes a lot of sense and fits a lot of like the mold of people that they've been bringing into this role. I don't know much about Evan Rachel Wood, as I've made abundantly clear, but sure, hey, whatever, sounds good to me. She had a really beautiful voice in Frozen 2, so I'm happy, I guess. I haven't gotten to go and see this show myself. I thought Jeremy would be the trick to get me in, but then he was in Gatsby, and I was like, I'd rather go see him in Gatsby. And I didn't see Corbin Bleu and Constance Wu because I have heard Constance Wu, and I don't think she's for me. I just don't need to go see her in this show. And the tickets for this is really what it is. The tickets are really, really expensive. And since they have so many cool people coming into the show, I'm just waiting until it's like the perfect person for me. Cough, cough, Aaron Tveit, Jonathan Groff, Antonio Citronella, Ben Platt. The list goes on, but not really, because there's some people who I'm not going to go see. Like, I didn't go see Jeremy, which is crazy. I'm not going to go see Corbin, and I don't think I'll go and see Darren. I think he'll be great in it, but he's not like my type of guy. If I won the lottery, I would be in there in a heartbeat. But these tickets for Little Shop are really expensive. I'm sure it's worth it. So many people love this show, and I really think I would like it too. It looks so fun. I think Drew Gelling is still in it, who was the original Dr. Pottimer in Waitress. And honestly, I'd like to go and see him. He's really good. But yeah, this is exciting. It kind of gives the vibe that maybe Little Shop wasn't ready for Darren to announce this. Just the fact that he gave a very vague announcement on SiriusXM. He didn't even say like the official date that he's coming on. And then I went to Little Shop's Instagram, and they haven't said anything about him and Evan Rachel Wood joining the cast. And so it just kind of feels a little like premature. Like maybe he like fumbled the bag fumbled the bag. I meant to say maybe he let the cat out of the bag like a little too early, and kind of just the way that he says it, like, oh, it'll be short and sweet. Like, I feel like he just kind of let it go and like told everybody maybe prematurely, but maybe this was the intention all along. I just feel like it's weird that he gave this announcement on the radio and like Little Shop hasn't even posted about it. Kind of interesting. Plus he says like the end of January, and Corbin Bleu and them are leaving on January 28th. So like, I feel like he's probably actually going to join the start of February, but who knows? Maybe they'll start January 29th. It's just like a very quick turnaround. Also, cool to note that, because we did talk about this a while back, that Evan Rachel Wood and Amanda Seyfried were in like talks about workshopping that Thelma and Louise musical. So it's kind of surprising that like we've heard that little rumor, and then now she's coming to Little Shop. And then I feel like that would be a really great jump from Little Shop, and hopefully, as I'm sure she will, get good reviews from that. And then people will be like, oh yeah, now that she's in the Broadway realm, let's move her on to Broadway in this Thelma and Louise musical, which I would love to see Amanda Seyfried on Broadway, like literally love. I just adore her. And then this Thelma and Louise concept sounds really fun too. And so anyways, I can just see the trajectory of this going from, okay, Frozen, like we've heard her sing, and she's a little bit in the zeitgeist, and then okay, now she's going to be in Little Shop, and so she's breaking into the Broadway mold, and then let's go all the way with this Thelma and Louise musical. I can see that. I can see the path, and I think it's a great idea. I think if she is going to be in Thelma and Louise, then she does need like some experience under her belt for people to already be talking about her and impressed with what she does and what she can bring to the table, especially playing opposite of Amanda Seyfried. Of course, if this Thelma and Louise concept is even true. But I think it is. I think it is, because I've seen it in some reputable sources. So I think it probably is. Anyways, exciting news. I know a lot of you Gleeks out there are so lit that Darren Criss is going to be coming onto Broadway. He's got a great voice. He really does. And he's been making money moves with his Darren Christmas little show that he's been doing. I've been seeing a lot come out of that. Looks pretty good. But I'm happy about this. I just can't wait to see who's going to be at Little Shop next. Aaron, after Sweeney, I know where you should go. Hey, it's not impossible because he says that he's going to be in it until the end of March. And Sweeney is supposed to close in spring 2024. So maybe, just maybe, this is Aaron's golden opportunity to come to Little Shop of Horrors. I just don't want him to leave Broadway ever, guys. I'm sorry, I'm crazy. Okay. Another exciting piece of casting news is that Brooklyn Laundry, which is going to be an off-Broadway show, has announced who is in their cast. And I am most excited about this because SNL alum, and y'all might also know her from Schmicago or Schmigadoon, Cecily Strong is going to be in this cast. Y'all know I love SNL. And so any SNL member that is on Broadway, I want to come and see this show. Of course, this is off-Broadway. But Brooklyn Laundry is going to be playing at the New York City Center Stage 1 beginning February 6th and with an official opening on February 28th. I haven't heard of this story before, so let's learn about what it is actually about. Quote, it is following 3 sisters and a guy who runs a laundry in Brooklyn, and the sometimes savage tricks life plays on them. Tragic and funny by turns, this story will remind you what is important in life and the sorrows and joy of fully embracing adulthood, quote. You know, a lot goes down in a Brooklyn laundry room. I know that firsthand, so I could see how it could make really good play. But I'm mainly just excited about this because I want to go and see Cecily Strong. And plus, I would love to go and see another off-Broadway show. Speaking of which, I talked about Danny and the Deep Blue Sea last week, but this director and creator, let me find his name real quick, John Patrick Shanley, who is doing Brooklyn Laundry, also was the man behind Danny and the Deep Blue Sea and the show Doubt, which is also coming to Broadway in this coming season. And so he's going to have 3 plays on Broadway. That's pretty incredible. But anyways, this show is also going to star Florencia Lozano, Cecily Strong, like I mentioned, Andrea Siglowski, and David Zayas. So I'm excited about this. I will most likely be going because it sounds like a concept that I probably am pretty close to, considering I live in Brooklyn. I'm very familiar with the laundry situation here. And then I want to see Cecily, of course. So I'm excited about Brooklyn Laundry coming on February 6th at New York City Center. Woohoo! Okay, guys, to wrap up our Broadway news, I just want to kind of give an update about the shows that are heading to Broadway soon because there is so much is coming, and we need to know the timeline of it. So these are in order of like what is arriving most closely to now and up until, I think I go until like April, but there's a lot. So let's buckle in. For starters, we have Days of Wine and Roses, which is going to be playing at Studio 54. This is starring Kelly O'Hara and Brian Darcy James. I'm interested in this. The director is Michael Grief, who directed Rent, so love him. He's also busy with Hell's Kitchen right now as well. But this show, let's read what it's about. So, quote, the musical adaptation of the 1962 Warner Brothers comes to Broadway following a sold-out premiere at the Off-Broadway Atlantic Theater Company. Okay, thank you so much. That told us nothing about what this is about. Okay, I don't know what this is about, but it's a 2-person show, which kind of isn't my thing, but I want to see Brian Darcy James. I've heard Kelly O'Hara sing. She's beautiful. But I'm kind of more into Brian Darcy James. So yeah, I do want to see this though. I'm interested. Will it be enough to get me in the door? I don't know. Who knows? I feel like I have a bad habit of being like, I need to see this show. And then it just gets overwhelmed by me seeing Gutenberg 4 times, you know, like it's hard to like branch out to see new things when you can just find your like fixation that you want to keep seeing. But anyways, I think it's a great casting with this pair. I think they're probably pretty great. Then after that, we have The Notebook, which is going to have its first preview February 10th. This is playing at the Gerald Schoenfeld Theater. This, of course, is the adaptation of the Notebook movie. And they're officially going to be opening on March 14th. Also directed by Michael Grief. Holy cannoli. That's crazy. Then, right on the heels of The Notebook, we have Water for Elephants playing across the street at the Imperial Theater. Their first preview is February 24th with an opening on March 21st. Not directed by Michael Grief. This one is directed by Jessica Stone. And let's read what this is about. So, quote, the musical adaptation of Sarah Gruen's novel will open on Broadway. It premiered at the Atlanta. Oh, I guess the about isn't. This is so silly. Some of these abouts do tell you what the show is actually about, and then other ones like say like where it came from. So this is just telling us that it premiered at Atlanta's Alliance Theater. So thanks. That's not what I want to know. I want to know what their story is actually about. I know it's like circus, think it's like a guy running away, joining a circus. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing that one for sure. The Notebook and Water for Elephants. I might have to go for an opening preview for those because I'm excited. I wasn't like into the movie. I don't think I ever even saw Water for Elephants, the movie, but I like the marketing for their show. Honestly, I really like their logo. I feel like that's what like makes me interested. I've seen their logo so much and it's awesome. It's like two trapeze artists swinging to each other and then the trapeze artists somehow form into like an elephant. It's really cool. And I think that if they bring in a lot of those circus components, it's going to be a wowing musical. So I'm happy about that. We have My Son's a Queer, But What Can You Do?, which is going to be at the Lyceum Theater, and they are opening on March 12th. This is starring Rob Madge, who I'm sure a lot of you know from TikTok, and it is an autobiographical solo show with him, and this premiered at the Edinburgh Fringe. I remember reporting on that a while back, and then it was on the West End, so I definitely want to see this show. I think it's going to be funny. It's going to be personal. I'm excited. I know Alex, shout out Alex, friend of the pod. I know she's excited about that show. Next up, we have The Who's Tommy. I don't know if we talked about this, but it's going to be at the Nederlander Theater following Chuck's departure. I don't even want to talk about this. This is so sad. The fact that there's even another show that is gracing the Nederlander stage, like, now I'm just going to have some resentment towards The Who's Tommy because I don't want something to replace Shucked. They shouldn't have kicked Shucked out. I know they're not high in the grosses, but like, it's not right. It's not right. Anyways, The Who's Tommy, which like, honestly, the only reason I knew about this was because when I was researching Casey Cott, once he was cast as Christian in Moulin Rouge, he was in The Who's Tommy, I think for like a Kennedy Center. Like this was a while back and it was like a short off-Broadway run, I believe. But let's read what this is about because they actually have a description. Thanks, The Who's Tommy. This musical puts The Who's original concept album on stage as a rock opera. Okay, rock opera at the Nederlander. It's sounding all too familiar. Rent played at the Nederlander, who aren't familiar, about a deaf, dumb, and blind boy who overcomes his disabilities with the help of ace pinball skills. He overcomes his disabilities playing pinball? All right, we'll give it all a chance. Oh my God, do they already have the lead cast? Yeah, sure enough. Okay, I'll put it in the show links. Wow, I'm surprised that they already have this cast and it's not Casey Cott because that would have been a pretty good, like, little switcheroony for Casey after he leaves Moulin Rouge. All right, cool. Okay, I'm very intrigued by this story because I don't really understand the concept, but I'm excited. It's a rock opera, but it's The Who's music. I don't know any of The Who music. Okay, next. We have The Outsiders, which is having their first preview on March 16th. I'm definitely excited about this. Heard Great Expectations, the song that's on YouTube that they released, and it is really, really good. And so I'm excited about The Outsiders to arrive. We have a show called Stuffs that is going to be at the Music Box Theater, taking over when Pearlie leaves, Pearlie Victorious. And let's read what this is about. It says, Shania Taub's musical about the American suffragette movement comes to Broadway after its sellout run at the Public Theater. Okay, so it's already had an off-Broadway run. We love to see that. My sister's super excited about this because, you know, she would be a suffragette if she was alive in that time. I hope we all would be. But she's just like is lit about this. I don't know. But I haven't seen anything on it, so I really can't. I think it sounds like a good concept. I like that it probably is female-led. I certainly am happy about that, but I need to do a little more research. I need to hear some of that music, perhaps. Then we have Hell's Kitchen, which is going to be at the Schubert Theater. It's crazy how much is leaving. Like, they're taking over when Some Like It Hot leaves. Like, it's just sad. It's like, I don't like this. I don't like it. It's like whenever, like, somebody leaves at work and then their replacement comes in and you're like, you're not as good. You're not, I miss them. You know, is that mean? But it's kind of that vibe. Like, it's like, ugh, it's always good and happy to have new things. Like, not everything can live on for forever, but it's like bittersweet. Okay, so anyways, Hell's Kitchen is going to be at the Schubert Theater on March 28th, and this is Alicia Keys' musical, also directed by Michael Grief, busy man, and it is about, quote, a new coming-of-age musical inspired by Alicia Keys' New York upbringing. It transfers to Broadway following a run at the Off-Broadway Public Theater. I've heard such good things about this. Yes, it is sold out. I would love to get tickets. I don't think it's going to happen because I am a realist. Just kidding. I'm definitely an optimist. But I want to see the show for sure. Okay, and then we have a show called The Heart of Rock and Roll playing at the James Earl Jones Theater after Gutenberg leaves. Good Lord, this is like a dart to my heart right now. I shouldn't have done this. I'm not like mentally prepared for this. But they're having their first preview on March 29th, and I haven't heard anything about this. It says that this is a new musical comedy inspired by a song catalog of Huey Lewis and the News. It premiered at the Old Globe in San Diego in 2018, so quite a while ago. Hold on, we're going to look up Huey Lewis and the News' music, because I don't know. Definitely heard of him, but... Oh, The Power of Love, Back to the Future. Oh my gosh, we're going to have two shows singing the exact same song, and it's probably their biggest songs. Okay, one of their songs is actually called The Heart of Rock and Roll. Heart of Rock and Roll. Is that how it goes? I don't know. They also did Back in Time. Oh, this is a weird time for this musical to be coming to Broadway, considering that they're singing these same exact songs just a couple of streets down. That is weird, but I'm kind of here for it. I love drama, guys. You know this. Which show will reign supreme? Who knows? Okay, we have The Wiz, which is going to be at the Marquee Theater, and they have their first preview on March 29th. This is a revival of The Wiz, and I am excited about this because I don't know a lot about The Wiz, but I want to know a lot about it. So I'm excited to see that come March. And then we have Cabaret, the Kit Kat Club, will be arriving on April 1st. Of course, this is starring Eddie Redmayne, and it's your typical cabaret. It's going to be theater in the round, I believe. It's going to be very immersive, which I love. I love when they get a little creative with that kind of thing. And then we have Mary Jane, which is a play. And this is going to be at the Samuel J. Friedman Theater. And this is starring Rachel McAdams, which I have to get in there to go and see, even though I'm sure the tickets are going to be crazy. So just let's start praying for that lottery win right now, because I want to see Miss Regina George in the flesh, honey. I'm excited about it. And then we have my last one that I want to talk about is Uncle Vanya, which is starring Steve Carell. I have already seen that people are at the Lincoln Center buying their tickets for this. But their first preview is April 2nd. And this is, yeah, he already said this is starring Steve Carell, right? Which I, without a doubt, will be seeing the show because Steve Carell is my father. Well, in another life, he is my father. Okay, guys, well, that wraps up this episode of From the Mezzanine. Thank you so much for listening or watching if you're seeing me on YouTube right now. If you enjoyed this, please leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening, or a thumbs up, or subscribe. I don't even know what I'm saying, but do all the things. You know what to do, probably better than I do. Share this with a musical theater loving friend. I'm sure that they are going to love it as much as you do. Thank you once again for listening, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye!